Hi guys, it's Ona and Dr. Vicky. We're back together for the next episode of Moonshine. This would be Moonshine number 8. And coincidentally, this full moon falls in Scorpio, who rules that 8th house. So as a launch, where the South Node's hanging out right now, and with a lot of input coming in, maybe that could be part of the focus of this full moon is some letting go stuff. In the meantime, what's coming up next week? Today is actually Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023. On May 11th, I am going to the Art Institute to see the Salvador Dali exhibit. It is his birthday. It's his
Yay.
birthday. So I know it's going to be so cool. I will get as much footage as I can through my nose cam if I have to or whatever, because I don't know what they allow and what they don't allow, but I will sneak in as much as I can. So a lot of that sort of theme stuff has been coming in, which if I just think Salvador Dali, things start to float and swirl in fun directions, but to try and narrow down how we're going to function on this full moon energy, I kind of went traditional with crystals. I went to an emerald for our Taurus portion, which is where the sun is, and pink tourmaline for the moon. I think the moon would appreciate that to sort of help terminate things that we don't need anymore in our lives.
Let go. Let go of resentments, let go of anger, let
Yeah.
go, let go, let go.
Yeah. It's a truly a cord cutting time with the eclipse involved. And I've been seeing a lot of imagery in that sort of way also is you're sort of in the center of a wheel with spokes around you, and you can grab on any spoke and climb into that story.
Right.
In fact, I think Gemini Brent talked about this, or maybe that's where it started to come to me more clearly. Or you can cut the story off and let it go.
Yeah.
And pick and choose what you want to, what you want to be involved in.
Well, of course, Pluto is square the nodes right now. So the resolution node to that is the South Node in Scorpio. And so it's really about letting go of resentment, letting go of the hell that we put ourselves through, honestly. And of course, it exposes a lot of shadow as the shadow passes and passes through the gate of that south node. And of course, in this full moon, the moon is there, right? The moon is full in Scorpio. So we really are sort of bearing witness to a certain extent to the releasing of um, that which no longer serves.
Yeah. Yeah. It really truly is letting go. So as I was kind of like starting to study the chart, and we'll look at the charts, it felt so much like an air feeling to me and a sandalwood kind of smell. So I went to the stellarium, and I'm going to post this at the end of the video, where the moon actually is in the sky at that time. And it is literally looking down at the scales of the Libra constellation at this moment. So you're bearing witness to, right? Looking from above and seeing what is one side is weighing down too much. We have to eliminate some things to get a balance. And then everything else made sense. Dandelions and all the other kinds of things. I'm like, okay, where the moon physically is in the sky, you can bear witness to a balance that you can create, I think.
Right. And that's connected to the goddess Mut, right?
Yeah.
And she weighed your heart against a feather. And if your heart was as light as a feather, then you got to move on, right? Move on, graduate, so to speak, into the afterlife. And that we could utilize, not that we have to graduate into the afterlife with this, but graduate onto the next step. Like you can't on your next step of your journey, you have to let go of some of the baggage that you have. You need to because it'll drag you back, or it'll step. It's like having too many bags and trying to get through a turnstile. At a certain point, you're going to have to leave some of those bags behind, and take a nice travel bag with
Yeah.
just the essentials. Right. The North Node is in Taurus. Taurus is about what is essential in your life. And so, what do you need to move forward in your life? It's starting to rain here. Oh dear. Okay,
Wow.
I didn't know.
And the sun is just maybe coming out. I don't know. We'll
We
see.
had a beautiful morning here, and now it's starting to rain. And
Yeah.
you probably had a cloudy morning, and it's starting to sun, right?
We're hoping that it's actually supposed to rain later. The greenhouse is closed today also because it's really windy, but it's kind of warm. The wind is just biting. And then it's going to rain and it kind of mix with snow. So it's in and out. It's trying to work its way away from. I'm hoping to get to see some kind of moon soon because I am in like moon withdrawal. I haven't seen the moon in a long time.
Well,
Edgy.
put the request, and then listen to that small, still voice within when it tells you, "Look out the window, hurry up."
I do. I'm 1:48 in the morning, 2:38 in the morning. I was like trying to, see if there was a break in the cloud and I could see something. So hopefully I'll be able to see this cool moon. Well, actually, the full moon occurs on May 5th at 12:33 Central Time. So it won't be visible, but Thursday night, the night before, maybe there'll be some
Yeah,
moon.
we won't see the eclipse. The eclipse is, I think, on the side of Australia, on that side, Oceania and that area. So,
Yeah.
which is interesting because there's a lot of stuff going on over there with Taiwan and China.
Let's look at the chart. Let's look at the
Yeah,
full moon chart, and we can get an idea on how you feel about her. What you sense out of this eclipse, full moon, Scorpio, opposite Taurus sun energy. You feel like you're walking through the mud,
well,
right?
I have water and earth in my chart big time, so I always feel like I'm walking through the mud.
Like things are just moving a little bit slower, or are you moving too fast? I mentioned I
I
went to
can't
work
say I'm
2 hours
ever moving too
early
fast.
on Sunday because I oh, I'll get there at night. It just didn't even occur to me that I might be uh opening later that day, or in the middle shift or something. I just went in, like, not even thinking about time. A little ahead of yourself, or feel like you're kind of walking through the mud a little bit, would be another theme with this full,
Or
right?
or do you feel like the clocks are melting?
The clocks are melting, and that is going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see what the Dali experience is like. I actually have the Dali deck right here, which I'm going to take with me, but I thought if we're going to pull a card,
Definitely
if
from the
anybody
Dali
should be
deck.
in charge of this full moon, I'm going to give it to Salvador and see what he
Sal.
comes
Give
up
it to
with.
Sal.
Yeah,
It's interesting, of course, time is a Saturn construct, right? It's a Saturn idea. Now Saturn's in Pisces.
yeah.
So why can't we keep time? Why do we not know what day it is? Why do we think it's Wednesday when it's Friday, or it's Monday and you think it's another day? It's that Saturn in Pisces. It really
Even,
does.
yes, even the smells are different. Like Monday smells a certain way, Tuesday smells a certain, like, oh, it's a Tuesday. But now it's kind of different. Like, it doesn't smell like a Monday, it smells like a Friday. What happened? It's all mixed up. Timelines are collapsing again, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we look at this chart, we see the moon here within 10 degrees of the south node, so it's conjunct, of course, and it's an eclipse. Here's the sun, and the sun is conjunct Uranus. And the sun will, in a couple of days, make that conjunction to Uranus. And the degree, I believe, is the 19th. It happens at the 19th degree, which is the Sabian symbol for that is a new continent rising from the sea.
So let's talk about that. In a couple of days, just before the new moon, the sun makes the conjunction to Uranus in Taurus. That could bring wakey energy, lightning kind of energy.
Illumination, awakening,
Yeah.
awakening. That is happening after the full moon. It's happening.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when it happens. That happens on the 9th.
Okay.
That happens on the 9th.
And we'll start feeling it around a couple days.
We're feeling it, I think.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the thing with Uranus though is it tends to be very time accurate, I think. Like Pluto, Neptune, they tend to like you kind of move into it. But when Uranus hits, it's like what? It's like lightning. It's like lightning that changes everything. It sort of rewires you in a way.
Yeah.
So we can expect to be rewired. We can expect to have to let go.
Yeah. Yeah. And Uranus rules Aquarius, where Pluto just started to.
Is sitting just still as can be. Even though it's now retrograde, it's so imperceptibly retrograde that for the most part, Pluto is just sitting there,
Yeah.
waiting to meet up with the other planets that are changing signs. So we have Venus changing into Cancer on the 7th. We have Jupiter going into Taurus on the 16th. And then we have Mars moving into Leo on the 20th, and that's creating a much tighter. So Mars is actually moving towards that opposition to Pluto. This is the full moon chart, but a couple of days later, Mars is going to be opposite that. We see Jupiter at the last degrees of Aries here will be moving into Taurus, squaring Pluto. And then, of course, here's the South Node. So there's a real tight, grand square in those first degrees of fixed signs. And fixity, usually the thing that happens when fixed signs get into that kind of configuration is something gives. Something has to give.
Yeah.
And this is also a time with the sun on Uranus. So there's a big release of sorts. And so a big release of energy. And what is that going to mean?
So this is interesting, Vicky. My friend of mine who just stayed here, she lives in Sacramento, said, we will be fine as long as the snow melt doesn't abruptly fall. If it melts gradually, we won't flood. I see a heat wave. So the Sierra Nevada's got more snow than they've ever had in record.
Yes.
And if it melts rapidly, it's going to flood.
Yes.
Okay. Central Sacramento area. So her concern was, I hope it doesn't flood. I hope it doesn't melt rapidly. I hope it's a slow, and then we can sort of manage it, you know.
I don't think that anything's going to happen slow.
It's not going to happen slow. Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
this is quick, sudden,
rapid melt.
Rapid change. I mean, even just, we've had a pretty cool spring so far, but with just 2 days that were hot, those are the same, like right around the days that it was hot in Chicago.
Yeah, it's like 80.
But every time the weather happens, and you hear that? That was a cop car going by with you'd think I was in Chicago or something, but the weather is just wild.
Yeah.
The wind is wild. My husband put up we have these like placards of the green man and the moon, and you put them outside, in the garden. And he put up the one for the wind. And that day the wind was crazy. I'm like, so you thought it was a good idea to put that wind guy up there, Michael?
I did a series. I did an elemental series with plaster faces, air, earth, wind, and fire, to put like in pots.
I want, if can you promise me something?
Yes.
I
Yes.
want you to share your art.
Okay.
I want you to do shorts sharing your art.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't
Everybody
done much.
agree? Everybody
Yes.
agree? Yes.
I haven't done much lately, but I've
I
had
can hear the clapping. I can hear the clapping.
I've had to like trying to consolidate and move things, and I don't want to throw out or even supplies that are still kind of good. So putting things together, and I did a series, and it's really interesting. I can't really hang it because it's heavy, but it's interesting. You said you put the wind out there, and it just went howling. So maybe lower it. There's been some fairy action they're going on. And I know I've just opened the greenhouse and stuff, but just, leaving an egg on I know it was the pigeons on the balcony, but little things missing. You might notice, or, can't find something, little tricks on you. Where did I put that? And those
Yeah.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
The Fae folk are very, very busy. And of course, I'm going to Ireland. So
Oh,
God only knows how that's going to increase that energy. And I'm hoping I can bring that back in a way to my home, which of course I'll let you know if it looks just like Ireland. Looks green. I know it's very green
I
here.
that's going to be such an interesting trip. I just
Yeah.
can't wait to like see video footage and pictures and stuff. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So
Yeah.
this moon is active. This moon is, and Lilith is right there over there on the left-hand side, just shaking things up,
Squaring everything.
squaring everything.
Squaring everything. Well, squaring the axis of the moon. And of course, Lilith is where we're willing to go to extremes.
She's angry.
There's that, and in self-expressive Leo,
Yeah.
So people have a lot to say, and I think they need to say it. It needs to be heard. It needs to be said. It needs to be put out there. And but not so much like the same old like grievance stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of stuff that what is what is precious? What is it that you need people to know about you
Yeah.
and your situation? I think that's important, and hopefully we'll be able to hear each other over the din of everybody. Oh,
So man, it's crazy. So we've got an active Lilith in Leo, sort of, driving the train here. And I like that. I like, I know she represents a sort of chaos, right? And
yeah.
maybe being pissed off, but I like
Well, it's the part of us that has been um what's the word I'm looking for? Uh like Lilith got kicked um out of Eden because she wouldn't lie underneath um Adam.
mhm,
So they kicked her out of Eden and they made her the mother of demons. So not only did she get kicked out for standing up for herself, she got sort of scapegoated with all the evils. And right now we have this E. Jean Carroll thing going on, uh, with Trump. And it, I think of all the things, and we talked about this, we kind of went back and forth about this, texting each other. But I feel like no matter what, the line had to be drawn, and E.G. Carroll is the one who drew it. And he's not even there, which goes to show you how much he cares about it.
right. Right.
And his guy is just like pounding her, like you don't remember, this is just for, what do you
Right.
call it, why would somebody put themselves through that?
Yeah. Well,
Or
this is what's interesting. This is good about, and where how the moon is helping us purge some of these old ideas that when this is her narrative is more important than the outcome,
yes,
how she's keeping herself and how she's teaching people what rape victims actually go through, how they block, how they have their, their revisionist part of the story is part to save themselves. We talked about Kavanaugh's accuser, Blaley Ford, right? When
Yep.
she had 2 front doors, that's all I got to see. I get it, right? And she was beaten and battered verbally, but now with Jean and her demeanor and her narrative, how we're learning that it's not cut and dry. You can't if you didn't manifest these symptoms, then it didn't happen. That's not true.
That's right.
That's not true. So she's showing us a whole opening, a whole new perspective.
Yes.
On the victim's manifestation of the victim, the consequences, right? Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
And and I think that we can't
great example for a Lilith swing in the
yes, I'd be interested. We can't do this today, but maybe in class tonight we can take a look at E. Jean Carroll and how her chart aligns with even this, that this is happening now.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep this up, or are we?
Let's go back. I want to pull a card and see if we can maybe just for the full moon, that's something that I could have aside for the next couple of days that I'll have on the altar, which I think is going to be in the greenhouse because I will be there at that time. So it might be a
perfect altar time.
The edible will just be like little baby spinach or something, but I little edible in that. So Scorpio is the moon will be in Scorpio. Scorpio's ruler is Pluto, who just is stationing, and Mars, the traditional ruler.
In Cancer. Mars is in Cancer.
Mars is in Cancer. So it is a little feeling like walking in the mud, maybe those heavy energies are still pulling at you to say, hey, there's a portal over here by Pluto. He's taken donations.
Donations of all your resentments to go flush it down the toilet. That's the other thing.
There you go.
We do have to be careful of our plumbing. Make sure everything goes down.
Okay. Right? Yep. Exactly. So Pluto's taking donations on our, what we really need to get rid of. What's it got to say? It says where the moon's going to be. I pulled from the starseed messenger, Sirius energy, bringing harmony and balance.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Powerful.
There she is. These are so powerful cards that they deserve their own altar space.
I know.
I love
powerful cards that somebody who loves you sent you.
Maybe it was just that energy that I just pour into these. I love the art so much. I'm jealous of it. Right?
You don't have to be, because your art is powerful, but nobody's seen it yet. So
but stuff
we're gonna do the shorts.
Traditionally, things I can't do, like paint or watercolor or things like that. And it's all construction stuff that I do.
Miss Capricorn.
Yeah.
Constructing, sculpture.
I like that.
I know. It's the tactile stuff.
Yeah.
Right? The earrings, the beautiful leather work that you do, the pillows.
I'm going to have a condo full of pillows and no furniture.
And I'm gonna have a house full of paintings. I have no place to put. I just did the Tree of Life. I just did a series on the Tree of Life.
I saw that. I like that. How does working with it physically like that help you?
You channel the energy. You get it's coming from a different place. Like the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah stuff can be very mental.
Yeah.
But it's not just about that. You have to engage with the energy. And so when I'm doing something like, say, Gabura, which is the red Sephiroth, right? It's Mars. I think about it, and I put the paint down, and then I don't know what happens. I just do
Yeah.
it, and then it dries, and I'm like, hey, this looks really good.
Right.
And then I'll hold it, and you can feel the energy in the actual painting.
Yeah.
So
That's how that works. That's it. Just like it just kind of comes in and you do it. Or Mars is in Cancer now. Maybe you spill the paint on.
right,
Or, it's like it's that sort of thing. Yeah, I have to
yeah,
be like engaged in it very much. So I have to dissect it before I can figure it out for sure. Everything that comes in, so much fun. So much fun. Let's see what you get for an do you have an oracle or
I
tarot?
have the illuminated Earth Oracle.
Nice. What do you got?
Uh, phenomena,
Ooh.
phenomena.
Looks
This
like an
card
eclipse
always,
to me.
what?
An eclipse?
It kind of looks like a full moon, an eclipse, or something. I guess it let me see if I can just focus in. Oh,
Yeah.
there we go. Now you can see it. It's almost like the etheric double of the earth here,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Makes sense to
Phenomenon.
me. I love it.
And there's it's opposition just like the full moon,
Yep.
right?
Earth and
And
the
so maybe a realization of not only who we are, but who we could be
yeah.
if we allowed ourselves. If we allowed ourselves to move into that light body with
Mhm.
not ignoring the physical, but integrating the light body into the physical. That's what that looks like to me.
And
And
letting
that's
go.
going to take release
Yep.
of emotions
Yep.
that block us,
Yep.
that keep us in the emotional hell of our lives. What can't we forgive? Who can't we forgive? Um,
Yeah.
and we can make a list of people, but ultimately it comes back to ourselves. It's
Mhm.
really about self-love.
It is about self-love. And my favorite definition of forgiveness is not allowing that person to have that reaction in you anymore. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means I'm not reacting the way I used to.
You released from the prison of whatever that was. And
Yeah.
that's really how I think we move through trauma anyway. There's one thing to like understand that there was actually trauma, because sometimes we don't even know that that's the case. But then seeing the trauma and naming the trauma, and then seeing the value in what that trauma brought into your life. Um, you know, I feel like for me, I've always felt like I've been like hovering over the earth or hovering over my life, never fully embodying it, always sort of being on the outside looking in. And I think that has for me to do with the trauma of not being held by my mother as a baby, like just being taken away from her and put somewhere. Um, but what that has helped me to do is to live a life on an edge of what normal is,
Yeah.
so I could see what needed to be seen. So
Mhm.
when the time comes, hopefully I can give perspective on, as the paradigm melts away, like the clocks, Dali's clocks,
Mhm.
that you can see patterns emerging. And I think that this is also that the patterns emerging, the connections emerging.
Yeah.
This one on the top here kind of reminds me of Pluto in Aquarius.
And there's a neural network going on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
of course, I've spent my life uh, uh, taking interference off of people's nervous system
Yes,
for
exactly.
chiropractic. Now I'm doing it in a
Make
different way.
way for the nerves.
What a nerve you have.
To release it, to let that pain.
Release the pain. Release
Exactly.
release the pain. Let it go. and a new day is dawning. So a lot of
And
people
how
really
cool. You know what? When you just said if sometimes you don't even know the trauma or identify the trauma, if something is bothering you and you want to do that this full moon and you don't know what the trauma is, just write pain on a piece of paper and burn it. Like, I don't know why these people bother me, or I don't know why he makes me mad every time I see him. Just write pain. Because if you can't identify the exact thing, you don't have to hold on to that. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Love you guys. We will see you very, very soon. Giblets is always happy to have a video in, right? And
Yeah.
Vicky, I'll see you later. Thank you so much. And we'll see you guys soon.
Take care, everyone.
I love you.
Namaste.